Moving on, we're going to create a little more colorful of a program, which will be this one right here, Spongebob buttons. So it's just going to be a program that has buttons of SpongeBob characters that do absolutely nothing. But we're going to learn how to get visual effects in, make some buttons, use a border pane, all that type of stuff. So I have the program ready to go, Spongebob buttons. We are going to say that this extends the application class because this is a JavaFX program. We then have to implement the start method, of course. Last time we clicked here and we did that, but I can show you that we can just as easily make it ourselves. We could say public void start and give it a stage of primary stage, or whatever name you would like to give it. Then add the override annotation here and import the stage object. So there we go, here is our stage method. You can do it manually or you can hit the light bulb. Your main method doesn't matter if it goes on top or bottom as long as it's in there, but it should have a launch args. If we run this right now, we should know that absolutely nothing happens because we don't have anything going on. Let's start out by creating a BorderPane. I told you this was a BorderPane program, but if you remember from our BorderPane examples, a BorderPane has a top, left, center, right, and bottom. This looks a lot like a BorderPane. So let's go ahead and create a BorderPane with the following. So create a pane to hold the image views. This will be a BorderPane. BorderPane, pane equals new BorderPane. So there is our pane. We have to import that just like everything else. We can then do the tedious work of setting up the scene and all of that stuff. So create a scene and place it in the stage. So we can say scene equals new scene. Nothing unusual here. And we can of course add our pane to our scene. So we placed our border pane, which is currently empty, into our scene. We will then take our primary stage, which is the argument we pass to our start method up here, and we will say set the title to SpongeBob buttons. We will take our primary stage again, and we will set the scene to be the scene that we have given it, containing our pane, still empty, and then we will show. So remember, this is just the stuff, the standard stuff you have to do for any FX program, is create a scene, set the title, load the scene into the stage or onto the stage, and then show the stage itself. And here is our program right now. It's quite large, so we will definitely adjust it. So let's get started by adding some stuff here. So first of all, I think what we should do is, of course, add the padding. Again, very generic. We can set padding. We could say, give us some new insets of 15, 15, 15, 15, all around, top, left, right, bottom. And then the next thing we can do is the interesting thing, which is adding the images. Now, how are we going to get SpongeBob images? I'll leave them in the description of the video, and I might post the links on Blackboard as well. But you don't have to use SpongeBob images, you can use any images you want. I just so happened, before recording this video, to pull up all of the images I will need. I just googled some SpongeBob pictures, and here they are. And like I showed you in one of the textbook examples, you can either copy the hyperlink, the URL up here, or you could right-click on the image and press Copy Image Address. That will allow you to get the address of the image, and it will load this into your program directly. The only problem with that is you don't have control of the website, I would imagine, so someone could take the image down or change the image, and if they do, that will reflect in your program. So let me show you how I'm going to load that SpongeBob image into my program. And that would be by making an image object. So image SpongeBob equals new image. And then this is the link to my image. It's a bit lengthy, of course, but that's just because it's from the internet. When I load the image in, I do want to pass it some properties, as we will see in a second. But I want to add the Java FX image, not the Java AWT image. Now for this one in particular, I am going to give it a 100 and 100 by width and height to make it a nice square shape. And then I'm just going to give it a false and false because we don't want any hints or rollovers or to make it smooth. So false and false is usually what you want to do if you just want to load the image in. So this is our Spongebob image, and the rest are going to be pretty similar. So we're just going to have image equals new image, but this one will be Patrick, who I believe is our next one. So we can copy Patrick's image address, come back into NetBeans, and in quotation marks, link that, following this structure. And I'll show you what happens when we don't follow that structure as well. So let's do the next one. For the next one, I'm just going to copy and paste this, and we will just change this link directly. This will now be Plankton. So we copy image address, come back into NetBeans, paste it. This all stays the same. We just change the name to Plankton. Again, we can copy and paste, making this a lot easier, quicker, and smoother. Changing the image address to the next character, which we will see who that is. That is Squidward. So let's copy the image right here and put Squidward in and change the name of the object. And then let's do our last one manually so I can just show you a little bit of a difference here. We'll say this is Mr. Krabs equals new image. We will then go back to the website, find the image, copy the image address one more time, and paste it in quotation marks. But we're not going to put this extra stuff on Mr. Krabs just to see the difference here once it's in. So here's all of our images. If we run this, nothing will happen because we've loaded the images into our program, but our program doesn't yet, we haven't added them to our pane. Remember, you load them in and then you add them to your pane. So we have to do that next. So here's all of our images. They're quite lengthy, but that's because of the URL. The images are going to be buttons, so let's make the buttons. So make the buttons, the images will sit on. So button b1 equals new button. So there is a regular button. And then add the nodes to the pane would just be as easy as saying pane.setCenter button 1. So here I made the button, and here I added button 1 to the center pane, because remember we're working in a border pane, which has a top, left, center, right, and bottom, and button 1, I put Spongebob in there. Oh no, I haven't put Spongebob in there yet, I just added button 1 inside of there. If we run this now, there is our button in the center. It's a strange shape. We don't really have much control over that right now, but what we can do is we can say I would like to take my button and I would like to set the graphic, and I would like to set the graphic to Spongebob. Well, this works because Spongebob is an image, this image. Let's see what this red line is. Incompatible types, image cannot be converted to node. Now that is because we can't add an image to a button, but we can add an image view to a button. So new image view Spongebob should work, and it does. So button 1, set graphic, new image view, which loads our image of Spongebob into our button. And we have to import the JavaFX function of that, run this, and there we go. And you can see it's a nice size, 100 by 100. That's because of the sizing we put on all of our buttons, apart from the last one. So let's go ahead and follow suit with that, with all of these. So we can get in the habit of copying and pasting. We can say pane.setTop, and the top button, I believe, was, let's see, Squidward. So pane.setTop. What button do we want to add there? Well, we can say button 2, and let's go ahead and make button 2. Button b2 equals new button. like this. Or let's change this to be Patrick, and we will put Patrick on the left. So instead of set top, it will just be set left. We've already made our button 2. Button 2 dot set graphic Patrick. Run the program. There we go. It's working right now. And let's continue. So we can say button b3 equals new button. You can see how repetitive this could get. So you could break this into methods the more comfortable you get with this. Who should we do next? We will say button 3 is plankton, and that would go to the right. So pane.setRight button 3 and b3.setGraphic plankton. Probably a typo here. Let's see. Incompatible types. Oh, it's because we didn't do the image view again. So there we go. This should work. So this is the center, left, and right. So let's start doing the top and bottom now. Let's go ahead and start with the top, which is Squidward. So we can say button b4 equals new button. And while we're up here, let's just make button b5 as well. And then we could copy and paste, set the top to be b4, set the graphic of b4 to be Squidward, and let's see what happens when we do this. It worked, but the problem is that Squidward is on top but not in the center. So we'll fix that shortly. But let's just get the last one done. So pane.setBottom. We will add b5, and this would be crabs, and make sure you change b5 everywhere needed. And here we go. Now see how crabs did not stick to the size 100, 100? I believe maybe, yeah, crabs was the one who we didn't set a size of 100, 100. All of our others, Spongebob, Patrick, Plankton, Squidward, all have a size of 100, 100 and a false, false for their properties, but Mr. Krabs doesn't. So when we run this, that's why he is scaled exactly how he came from the website. So we could fix that by simply just adding these properties to his image. And now it works. But we need to get Squidward and Mr. Krabs to the bottom center and the top center. So to do that, let's start with Squidward on top. We could do something as easy as saying BorderPane.setAlignment. We could take our B4 and we could position the top center. Again, a lot of this stuff is not stuff you're expected to know or remember. You kind of just run into a scenario where it's not working the way I want it to work, and you can now, with your knowledge and logic of Java and programming in general, you should have enough of that to look this up and say, well, how would I center it at the top using a border pane? And it would tell you to do this. And you can see that that did center Squidward at the top because we took our border pane property, we set the alignment of B4, which is our Squidward button, to top center. So we should be able to do something very similar to the Mr. Krabs, again, showing you that copying and pasting is very encouraged here. And all I did was change B4 to B5 and position to bottom center. That should have done the trick, and it does. These are all buttons. You can see I can click them. You can also see they do absolutely nothing because this chapter revolves around design, not functionality. But that is our program done. Don't forget to have the main method in there if you do not already. The code, as always, will be posted to Blackboard, and you can play around with this. We will see another iteration of this in the next example.